The Golden Valley Police Department is asking for the public's help in identifying two men involved in an armed robbery at the Walgreens off Winnetka Avenue. Reporter Sonia Goins explains more about what the robbers got away with.
There were some pretty scary moments here last Friday night. Golden Valley police say two men with firearms robbed this Walgreens and forced a clerk to open up a prescription safe.
The two suspects that came in had masks on, they had gloves on, which really kind of made it hard to identify, get any type of physical evidence.
According to police, the incident happened around 8:40 at night. They say once the store clerk opened the safe, the robbers stole an unknown amount of medications.
Really don't know what type of medication it was. I do know it was definitely prescription medication.
Golden Valley police believe this robbery is linked to several other incidents that have occurred in other cities.
Golden Valley Police Department is working with those other agencies to identify if those suspects are the same people involved in those other four robberies at other Walgreens.
Police were unable to provide a detailed description of the robbers. They say a late model black sedan was seen leaving the scene. If you have any information, call Golden Valley Police. Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Brooklyn Center police arrested a suspect who they say pulled out a gun from his waistband. Justice Valentino is charged with illegal possession of a firearm due to previous felony convictions. According to the criminal complaint, police initially noticed Valentino swerving between east and westbound lanes of traffic on a motorized bicycle near 58th and Irving. When police tried to stop him, the suspect fled. Police caught up with the suspect. The complaint says a fight ensued with Valentino pulling out his gun. Officers were able to eventually get the weapon out of his hand and then make an arrest. Court records show Valentino has 5 previous felony convictions, including robbery, threats of violence, first-degree burglary, domestic assault, and drug crimes. Brooklyn Park has narrowed down the field of candidates for their police chief position to one person, and it's someone you might be familiar with. After a nationwide search and 5 interviews, Deputy Chief Mark Bruley is the lone finalist. He's been serving the community for 27 years. After an open house to meet the community, Bruley will interview with City Manager Jay Strobel. The city manager is responsible for recommending to the City Council who he believes they should hire for the role. 1 year ago this month, the Taliban took control of Afghanistan as the United States withdrew from the country. In the days and months that followed, more than 1,300 Afghan refugees found new lives in Minnesota, thanks in large part to a nonprofit group called Alight. Delane Cleveland visited Alight's warehouse in Brooklyn Park to learn more about their efforts.
So we wanted a real shopping experience for the Afghan community.
In a nondescript warehouse in Brooklyn Park,
So we have couches, dressers.
there's a marketplace stocked with items that people can use to help make their house a home.
We have anything you need in a bathroom or kitchen available to the families.
Every item is free of charge for Afghan refugees who have resettled in Minnesota.
Many of the Afghans that arrived literally with the clothes on their backs. They didn't have any of their personal belongings. They left their families, friends, homes, and their prized possessions back in Afghanistan.
Sonia Anunciacion has led Minnesota's resettlement effort for the organization Alight since the Taliban took control of Afghanistan in August of 2021. It was a chaotic time for a country she holds near and dear to her heart.
Back then it was a really emotional time because I have family in Afghanistan and both of my parents are from Afghanistan. And to watch that chaos and the desperation for people to get on that plane for a chance at a better life was really tough to see, and I can't even imagine experiencing that.
1 year later, this Alight marketplace has served more than 950 refugees who were fortunate enough to escape. The market will shut down at the end of September, so Sonia is working to ensure that anyone who hasn't been helped can come in to get what they need.
We've reached majority of the community, and there's a small group left, and so we won't be replenishing the inventory now that we've completed this program.
Yet the home setup is only one part of the process. Alight's focus will soon turn to helping the Afghans make Minnesota feel like home.
From the feedback that I've received, they're happy to be here, they're happy to be safe.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Officials from Alight say that many of the families who have resettled here are experiencing isolation and loneliness, so the organization is developing programs to help them become acclimated, such as field trips and workshops. A local nonprofit is raising awareness about a critical back-to-school need. At PRISM in Golden Valley, about 400 kids are registered for its annual supply drive. But PRISM says it doesn't have enough backpacks and school supplies to meet that need. The nonprofit says rising costs have made it increasingly difficult for families to purchase all of the necessary items.
Inflation is at a 40-year high, and we're seeing that impact on school supplies as well. There's about a 30% increase, and research shows that families will spend up to $800 a year on school supplies. This is a major financial burden, and this is something that we can help with. This is something that the community can help with.
PRISM has set a goal of raising $10,000 to fill that gap. The nonprofit is about a third of the way there. It's also hosting a supply drive this Thursday from 4 until 7 p.m. at its Zane Avenue location. Backpacks are among the most needed items. We've got more information online at ccxmedia.org. Primary results are in Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. Voters whittled down the list for mayor and city council seats. Here's a look at the results in some of our area's key races.
Ten years ago this month, Kate Simonet was a 17-year-old teen about to start her senior year at Park Center High School. What should have been a great year for the three-sport athlete was anything but. John Jacobson has her story.
Sports were my life.
From the outside, everything looked good and right.
Simonet knocks down a three-pointer.
Kate Simonet was the captain of Park Center's cross-country, basketball, and track and field teams her senior year. The honor roll student was also the Pirates' Athena Award winner as the school's most outstanding female athlete. But that all masked what was happening on the inside.
Depression first started to affecting my life the fall of my senior year of high school.
She began withdrawing from friends, crying often, and hiding in deep pain, at first diagnosed as major depression.
I was at a point in high school where I was sleeping 3 hours a night. I was struggling with an eating disorder as well as overtraining in my sports. I believed that if I could look happy and excel on the outside, then I could make myself happy on the inside, and that's not how it works.
It came to a head during a spring break trip to the Dominican Republic in March of 2013.
I had a psychotic break, which basically means I lost touch with reality and began to hallucinate and have delusions.
After a 2-week hospitalization in Atlanta, Kate was well enough to fly home to Minnesota, where she finished out her senior year. But even then, most people had no idea the trauma she was continuing to go through. Kate felt well enough, though, to head off to college at Winona State and continue her running career.
Because I was so passionate about my running, I knew that if I didn't go to school at Winona that fall of 2013, I would lose my chance to run competitively.
But the medication Kate was on to help treat her depression had terrible side effects, including dehydration and stiff muscles.
Every run was difficult. I didn't enjoy it like I did in high school.
The next summer, Kate made a decision that eventually sent her into another downward spiral.
I decided, with the help of my psychiatrist, to completely stop taking my medication, which, looking back, was a terrible decision.
Even though her sophomore year was her best statistically, the absence of her medication triggered another breakdown. Kate was finally diagnosed with a bipolar disorder. She quit running after her sophomore year at Winona State. Not an easy decision.
I felt like a quitter. I felt like a failure. I didn't know who I was. It was a terrible few months after I left the team because I felt like I couldn't live up to what I was supposed to be.
But she persevered and earned her college degree 2 years later. Fast forward to 2021, when her therapist encouraged Kate to tell her story. And so she has. Just last month, Kate Simonet self-published her book called Out of the Darkness.
The purpose of me writing this book is to spark conversations around mental health and to bring awareness to the topic and help other people, and I truly think it's doing that.
Now 27 years old, Kate is a project manager for a sophomore development company. She lives in Maple Grove and does still run, but just for fun. Even though her bipolar disorder is something she will always live with, Kate says it doesn't define her, and she hopes her story can help others suffering the same pain she once did.
I want people to know that it is possible to live a happy life, and asking for help and dealing with mental health issues, it's nothing to be ashamed about.
Kate thanks a supportive family and group of friends who were and continue to be a big help in her life. You can find more of Kate's story and a link to her book on Instagram at choosing_happiness_LLC. That's all for sports. Thanks for watching.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.